Spider-Man 3 was one of the most anticipated movies of 2007, and probably the most anticipated superhero movie of the time. This is before The Dark Knight. The two movies before it were great and awesome, and the cast had done a stupendous job. So naturally, we all fell for the ruse that this movie would top them both. Now to be fair, I don't think that Spider-Man 3 totally sucked. I just think they made a lot of bad decisions for it. There was way too many storylines that could have been cut, characters that didn't need to come in at all, and things we were looking forward to that just didn't meet our expectations. As a movie critic and a comic book fan, I wasn't angry, I was just let down. I could badger all I want about them not treating the comics right, especially Harry Osborn looking like a flying paintballer, but this video is more about the movie itself. So here we have it, the bottom 5 worst decisions of Spider-Man 3. Number 5 goes to Peter needing the emo hairstyle whenever the symbiote took over. Why the heck does he need to do that? Do you really think we can't tell that the symbiote is controlling Peter when he slams Eddie Brock against a wall or pimp slaps MJ across the face? This was a useless gimmick that I never understood. The filmmakers obviously wanted to make Peter look cool and dark when the symbiote influenced him, so they decided that the audience needed a way to know when Peter was in control and when the costume was. Because apparently, the audience is that stupid! I've personally tried the emo hairstyle a couple years back, and I stopped doing it for the same reason Peter should have quit. It makes him look ridiculous! It works for some people, but not everyone! Plus, when Peter was under the control of the symbiote, his skin looked paler and he had the eyes of a junkie. Now if you made that more visible, then he wouldn't look lame. He looked like the suit was sucking the life out of him, which is what it was doing all along. Number 4 goes to Gwen Stacy. What was the point of bringing her into this movie? Now you're probably thinking, well, she serves as a love interest to Eddie and Peter. Okay, but does her character have anything to do with the story itself? No, she's useless. Another face from the comics that they just slapped in there for no reason but to be part of an awkward love triangle. For the third movie, I and a lot of other fans were really looking forward to a character like Felicia Hardy coming onto the screen, especially since her alter ego Black Cat was supposed to debut in Spider-Man 2. If this movie didn't have so many crowded storylines, Black Cat would have been perfect for it. Peter would be going all dark from the symbiote, and there would be Black Cat to sort of tempt him towards a wilder, more free lifestyle. But instead, Peter goes for this chick, who's just there to throw a wrench in his plans to propose to Mary Jane. I don't even know what he likes so much about her. Yeah, she is attractive, but she's just so ditzy and has the personality of a coconut. Gwen Stacy was a popular character in the comics, but the thing she's actually known most for is being killed by the Green Goblin and serving as a method of setting Spider-Man on a whole revenge phase. And she doesn't even serve that purpose in the movie. Her character's alive and well by the end, and her story arc doesn't even go anywhere. Gwen Stacy feels like a stereotyped dumb blonde. She didn't have any chemistry with Peter or Eddie. She just stood there as eye candy, and that was all. She had no purpose other than to make MJ jealous and to make out with Spidey. Number 3 goes to Sandman turning out to be the real killer of Uncle Ben. I really hated this decision. The thing I liked about the first movie is that Uncle Ben got killed by a random guy. Not somebody who was going to come back in the end all superpowered to battle Spider-Man. Because that is the real world. If your uncle got murdered, would you expect the killer to become your greatest enemy later on in life? No, you'd expect them to get caught by the cops and put in jail. But of course, somebody got the great idea of rewriting the origin entirely. Uncle Ben wasn't killed off by this guy, he was killed off by Flint Marko, who served only 2 purposes in this movie: showing off visual effects and destroying something that didn't feel like a cliche from the first movie. The origin was almost a total ripoff of Tim Burton's Batman, where we found out that Joker killed Bruce Wayne's parents. But here, we're supposed to feel sorry for Sandman because his daughter was dying and that the shooting was all an accident. So if his daughter was dying 2 years ago, wouldn't she be dead by this point? Here you had something that we could all understand and you totally shredded it apart just to go full circle. Thanks a lot! Number 2 goes to the butler confessing to Harry about his father's death. When I walked out of the theater, the first question I had on my mind was, why the heck didn't he tell Harry this years ago? We find out at the end of the movie that Harry's butler Bernard cleaned Norman Osborn's wound and realized he had been impaled by his own glider. And conveniently, for the sake of a trilogy, he never tells Harry the truth until this point of how his father died, or that he was the Green freaking Goblin. Why the heck would you never tell Harry this? Dude, do you realize he wants to kill his best friend over a misunderstanding that only 2 people can prove, and you're the only one of them that Harry will listen to? This is what we like to call a plot hole! Number 1 goes to an inexcusable piece of stupidity. Peter dancing in the street like a complete loser in New York. I almost don't have the stomach to watch this scene again. For no reason at all, after Peter decides to let the suit take full control of him, he dances around the streets of New York thinking he's as cool as the Fonz. I actually thought he was gonna do a friggin' singing number in this scene. Why in the world is he doing this? Nobody watching him on screen or even in the movie itself thinks it's cool. They think he has brain damage or something. I don't know who wrote this scene and what drugs they were on, but if you think somebody doing moves that died out of coolness almost 50 years ago is worth watching to a 2007 audience, get in your time machine and go back to the 60s. I can't think of anybody who watched this scene and didn't hate it or make fun of it. Spider-Man is supposed to be making jokes, not become one! So there you have it, the bottom 5 worst decisions of Spider-Man 3. Oh, what a dork.